Welcome to the Unspoken, the place where we talk about the things everybody feels, but nobody says out loud. I'm here to break down the complex in the simplest way possible, because the deepest truths shouldn't be hidden behind fancy words. They should be plain, clear, real. Today, we're diving into something that's gonna make you question everything you think you know about yourself. It's called the observer and the observed. And the question is simple but heavy. Who are you really? Is it that voice in your head, the one that's always talking, commenting, judging, analyzing? Or are you the one listening to that voice? Think about it. Right now, as I'm talking to you, there's a voice in your head. It might be repeating what I'm saying, or it might be thinking about something completely different. Maybe it's agreeing with me. Maybe it's skeptical. Maybe it's already planning what you're gonna do after this. But here's the thing, if you can hear that voice, if you can notice it talking, then who's doing the noticing? If you can observe your own thoughts, then you can't be your thoughts, right? Because the observer and the observed can't be the same thing. You can't watch yourself and be yourself at the same time. There has to be a split, a separation. And that split, that gap between the thinker and the awareness, watching the thinker, that's where the real you lives. Most people never notice this. They go their whole lives believing they are the voice. They think the thoughts they think are who they are. But that's not true. And today, I'm gonna show you why. Let's start from the beginning. In the beginning, when you were born, you didn't have a voice in your head. You were pure awareness, pure experience. No thoughts, no words, no labels. No, I think, therefore I am. You just were. A newborn baby doesn't think, I'm hungry. A baby feels hunger, raw, immediate, undeniable, and cries. That's it. No analysis. No story about what hunger means or why it's happening. Just the pure experience of sensation and response. You didn't look at your mother's face and think, that's my mother. You just experienced the warmth, the sound of her voice, the feeling of safety. You didn't have the concept of mother yet. You just had the experience. Everything was direct, unfiltered. You were living in the moment because you didn't have the mental machinery to do anything else. You were the observer, pure consciousness, without the noise, without the narrator. But then something happened. You learned language. Your parents started pointing at things and naming them. Bottle, dog, ball. And every time they did that, they were teaching you to label your experience, to put words on things, to create concepts. And that's when the voice started to form. At first, it was just words, simple associations. But over time, those words became sentences. Those sentences became thoughts. And those thoughts became a constant stream of internal dialogue. By the time you're 2 or 3 years old, you're starting to develop a sense of I. You start referring to yourself. I want that. I don't like this. You're building an identity, a concept of who you are. And by the time you're 4, 5, 6 years old, that voice is fully operational. It's running all day, every day, commenting on everything, judging, comparing, worrying, planning, remembering. And somewhere along the way, you forgot. You forgot that you existed before the voice. You forgot that the voice is just something that developed, a tool your brain created to help you navigate the world. You started identifying with it. You started believing that the voice is you. But it's not. The real you, the observer, was there before the voice showed up. And it's still there now, underneath all the noise. Most people just don't know how to hear it anymore. What this means for you. So, what does this mean for your life right now? It means that most of the time, you're not actually living, you're thinking about living. You're trapped in your head, listening to a voice that never, ever shuts up. Think about your day yesterday. How much of it were you actually present for? How much of it were you really there, experiencing it? Or were you in your head the whole time? Maybe you were in the shower, but your mind was at work, running through everything you had to do. Maybe you were eating, but you weren't tasting the food, you were replaying a conversation from the day before. Maybe you were with people you love, but you weren't really with them, you were thinking about something else entirely. That's the voice. The thinker. It pulls you out of the present moment and traps you in a world of thoughts. And here's the problem. Most of those thoughts aren't even useful. Psychologists say that the average person has between 12,000 to 60,000 thoughts per day. And according to research, about 80% of those thoughts are negative. And 95% of them are the same thoughts you had yesterday. Think about that. You're running the same mental loops over and over and over, worrying about the same things, doubting yourself in the same ways, replaying the same old stories. And you believe it all, because you think the voice is you. Let me give you an example. You're about to walk into a room full of people. Maybe it's a work meeting, maybe it's a party, doesn't matter. And that voice starts going. Everyone's gonna be looking at you. What if you say something stupid? Remember that time you embarrassed yourself? Yeah, they probably remember that too. You're not good at this. Just stay quiet. Don't mess up. And you feel all of that. Your heart starts racing. Your palms sweat. You get anxious. But here's the thing, asterisk, none of that is real, star. It's just the voice. It's just a story your mind is telling you based on past experiences, fears, insecurities. But you believed it, and it affected your whole experience. Now imagine if, in that moment, you could step back. You could observe that voice instead of being consumed by it. You could hear it say, "Everyone's gonna judge you," and instead of believing it, you could just notice, "Oh, that's a thought. That's my mind trying to protect me from potential embarrassment. Interesting." And suddenly, it doesn't have the same power. Because you're not in it anymore. You're watching it. You're the observer. This is what I mean when I say most people are controlled by the voice. They don't even realize there's a difference between the thinker and the awareness. But once you see it, you can't unsee it. You start noticing how much of your suffering comes from thoughts, not reality. You start noticing how the voice creates problems that don't even exist yet. You start seeing that you've been living in a mental prison and you're the one who built it. The universal perspective. Now, this isn't some new concept I'm making up. This is ancient. This is universal. Every culture, every spiritual tradition, every deep thinker throughout history has pointed to this same truth. In Buddhism, they call it the witness consciousness. The Buddha taught that you are not your thoughts, not your emotions, not your body, you are the awareness observing all of it. That's why meditation is so central to Buddhism. It's not about stopping thoughts. It's about learning to observe them without attachment. The Buddha said suffering comes from identification. When you identify with your thoughts, when you believe I am my anger or I am my fear, you suffer. But when you realize you are the awareness watching the anger, watching the fear, you're free. In Hinduism, they have a similar concept. They say you are not the body, not the mind, you are the Atman, the eternal observer, the true self. The mind is just a tool. The ego is just a construction. But the real you, the essence of who you are, is pure consciousness. There's a famous Hindu teaching that says, you are not the wave, you are the ocean. The wave is temporary. It rises and falls. But the ocean is always there, vast and unchanging. Your thoughts, your emotions, your identity, those are the waves. But the observer, the awareness, that's the ocean. In the West, Carl Jung talked about this too. He distinguished between the ego, the constructed sense of self, the voice, the identity you've built, and the self with a capital S, the deeper awareness, the wholeness underneath. Jung said most people live entirely in the ego. They think the mask they wear is who they are. But the real work of life, what he called individuation, is about integrating the ego with the self. It's about realizing you are more than the voice in your head. Even in Christianity, there are hints of this. Be still and know that I am God. Stillness. Silence. The space between the thoughts. That's where truth is. That's where the divine is. Not in the noise, but in the quiet awareness underneath. Across time, across cultures, across belief systems, everyone who's gone deep enough has discovered the same thing. You are not the thinker. You are the awareness behind the thinker. But here's why most people don't get it. Because the voice is loud. It's been running the show for so long, it doesn't want to give up control. The voice, the ego, has convinced you that without it, you wouldn't exist. That if you stopped thinking, you'd disappear. But that's the biggest lie it ever told you. You existed before the voice. You exist in the moments when the voice goes quiet. And you'll exist long after the voice is gone. The voice is temporary, constructed, learned. But the observer? The awareness? That's eternal. What this awareness does for you. Alright, so now you know. You're the observer, not the voice. You're the awareness, not the thoughts. But what does that actually do for you? How does this change your life? Here's the power. Once you realize you are not your thoughts, you stop being controlled by them. Let me say that again. Once you realize you are not your thoughts, you stop being controlled by them. That voice that says, you're not good enough? When you hear it, you can step back and say, oh, that's just a thought. That's not the truth. That's just my mind repeating an old story. And suddenly, it loses its grip on you. That anxiety about the future? You can notice it and say, my mind is creating a story about something that hasn't even happened. I don't have to believe this. And the anxiety starts to dissolve. That shame about the past? You can observe it and say, this is a memory. This is a feeling. But it's not who I am. And you stop letting it define you. You see, most people are fused with their thoughts. Whatever the voice says, they believe. They don't question it. They don't step back from it. If the voice says, you can't do this, they don't even try. If the voice says, everyone's judging you, they shrink. If the voice replays an embarrassing moment from 10 years ago, they feel the shame all over again, even though it's not even happening right now. They're prisoners to the voice. But when you become the observer, everything shifts. You create space between the thought and your reaction to it. And in that space, you have a choice. You can choose whether to believe the thought or not. You can choose whether to act on it or let it pass. You stop being reactive. You start being responsive. Let me give you a real-life example of what this looks like. Say you're in a heated argument with someone. The voice in your head is going off. They're disrespecting you. You need to defend yourself. Say something back. Don't let them win. Most people, they just react. The voice says it and they do it. They say something they regret. They escalate the situation. Because they're not aware that the voice is just the voice, they think it's them. But if you're the observer, you can notice that voice. You can hear it saying, defend yourself, and you can step back and ask, is that really what I want to do right now? Or is that just my ego reacting? And in that moment of awareness, you have power. You can choose to respond differently. You can choose to stay calm. You can choose not to let the voice run the show. That's freedom. Now, can you stop the voice completely? Probably not. It's part of being human. The brain is designed to think. It's doing its job. But you can change your relationship with it. You stop taking every thought seriously. You stop believing that just because you think something, it must be true. You start seeing thoughts for what they are, just mental events. They come, they go, like clouds passing through the sky. And you're not the clouds. You're the sky. The sky doesn't fight the clouds. It doesn't try to push them away. It just lets them pass. And that's what you do with thoughts. You observe them. You let them come. You let them go. And you stay rooted in the awareness, the part of you that's always been still, always been clear, always been free. This is what people mean when they talk about mindfulness or presence. It's not about stopping your thoughts. It's about realizing you are separate from them. You're the awareness that notices, oh, I'm thinking a lot right now. You're the space in which thoughts arise and fade. And once you tap into that space, everything changes. You stop living in the prison of your own mind. You stop being controlled by fear, doubt, shame, anxiety. You start making decisions from a place of clarity, not chaos. You start experiencing life directly, instead of through the filter of constant thinking. You get your power back. In conclusion, So here's what I want you to sit with. You are not the voice in your head. You are the one listening to it. That voice has been running wild your whole life, convincing you it's in charge, convincing you it's you. But it's not. You are the observer, the awareness, the consciousness that's been there all along, quiet and still, watching everything unfold. And once you realize that, once you really see it, you'll never be the same. The next time that voice starts spiraling, step back. Don't fight it. Don't judge it. Just notice it. Like you're sitting on a park bench, watching people walk by. You don't chase them. You don't grab onto them. You just watch. Do the same with your thoughts. Watch them come. Watch them go. And remember, you're not the thoughts. You're the awareness watching the thoughts. You're not the storm. You're the sky. And once you know that, truly know that, you're free. This is the Unspoken. I'll catch you next time. End.